Salutations, my beautiful children. Some less beautiful than others. I'm here to tell you a story. A story so heartwarmingly winsome you'll be moved to the point of tears. But not just any old tears, Shakespearean tears. Because this story isn't just any old story. This is the tale of, Romeo and Juliet. There it is. A tale of raging family conflicts, raging hormones, and ragey rage. Psychotic, unheeding, bloody rage. Like, seriously bloody. There's a lot of blood. It's freaking gross. So watch with inquisitive eyes, children. Watch good and hard. And cringe at how dumb and poorly made this is. Once upon a time, there was a generic kingdom or whatever. In it lived two families, the Montagues and the Capulets. The strange thing about these two families was that they downright hated each other with a passion for literally no reason at all. Like, seriously. They just have, like, random fights in the streets all the time. It's a regular thing for them. Hey, buddy, I don't like your face. Well, I don't like yours, dumbat. But, and then they just pull out their swords and fight, right there in public. How embarrassing. Anyways, I should probably mention our protagonist, Romeo. Romeo was the most fair and respectable young man in all the land. He was kind, funny, charming, not to mention super jacked and wasn't a murderer, which was actually uncommon back then. Everyone liked Romeo, but that's exactly the problem, children. Everyone liked him except for one, and that was inconveniently the one woman he loved. Sorry, bro. So one day he was hanging out with his pal Benvolio, and by hanging out I mean he was walking around throwing a big old pity party for himself. Wowee, buddy, life of the party over here. Oh, Romeo, Benvolio said, don't get your fat creases in a lump. There are many other fish in the sea, Benvolio continued. I heard about this dope party down the street. Want to show up completely uninvited, make it awkward for everyone? Heck yeah, I do. And so Romeo, their other friend Mercutio, and Benvolio sallied forth to the party. But don't be deluded, children. This wasn't the smartest of plans, for this party was actually a Capulet party. Which wouldn't be too bad if it wasn't for the fact that our lovable pasta trio are Montagues. Oh noes! I hope no conflicts arise from this predicament. Oh, too late. Our little Capulet boy over here, Tybalt, sees them and becomes slightly annoyed. But more than that, like, really annoyed. To the point of being downright salty. Dang! But who can really blame him? It wasn't but a moment before he was having a grand old time standing around doing nothing with his Capulet friends. And now 3 unknown Montague guys with weird, albeit tasting names are standing around also doing nothing? Gah! The nerve! But it didn't matter, for as much as a fuming tantrum Tybalt was throwing, Romeo's stomach was throwing an equally as fumy tantrum. A tingly nice tantrum with butterflies because Romeo was in love. Again, with someone else. And this someone else's name was Juliet. Now this lovely lass was the most captivating woman Romeo had ever seen. She was pretty, female, standing relatively close to him in the room at the time. She was the whole package. She really put the jewel in Juliet. Wait, that was dumb. So Romeo went over to her, they exchanged some thous and ye's, and kissed a bunch or whatever. You know, like friends do. So after the party, Romeo channeled his inner stalker and showed up at Juliet's castle and creepily listened to her talk to herself like a deranged mental hospital patient. What a nerd! He then climbed the wall by the power of his deep inner love for his lady, and also the steroids he took earlier, and hanging from the delicate bricks of the barrier to her heart, he confessed his unceasing and amorous love to her. She was all like, duh, remember that whole thing like an hour ago where we freaking made out and stuff? And he was like, woman, I don't know your life. What a romantic exchange it was. So the next day, Romeo went to have a little chat with a crazy old man named Friar Lawrence. And Romeo was like, good day, my gentleman. I'm looking to marry. Is there any kind-spirited, holy man around these parts who would like to do the honorable deed of marrying me and my lover? And Friar Lawrence was like, and Romeo was like, sounds like a plan, Stan, and went about his day. But you see, children, every burger has its pickle. For there was just one infuriatingly minor but big problem with all of this. Juliet was a Capulet, and Romeo was a Montague. Getting married was like giving a child a fork in a building filled with nothing but electrical sockets and saying, go have fun, little buddy. You're just asking for trouble. Or at the very least, it's like wearing a Vote Donald Trump t-shirt and hoping not to get beat up. Okay, who wrote the Trump joke in there? That's like the low-hanging fruit of political humor. So yeah, wedding was bad news bears for this couple. Like, so many bad things could happen. Juliet's family could hate her for the rest of her life. Romeo could die and stuff, and oh wait, they're doing it anyways. Boom! Married! So later on that day, Romeo was out and about celebrating like the true party animal he was with his 2 pasta pals, and not with his new wife, oddly enough, when suddenly, unexpectedly, all of a sudden, out of the blue right then, little Tybalt appeared. And he was all like, "I'm still mad about that thing." And Romeo was like, "Sorry, do I know you?" And then BAM! Tybalt shanked Mercutio. Straight up. Right in his innocent, unassuming little comic relief heart. What an unreasonable waste of blocky life it was. Good riddance, curse you, Romeo screamed, for his soul was instantly thronged with rage so emphatic and angry that even the god of anger himself, Angrius, would shake in his angrily little slightly adorable anger boots. And remember that thing I said earlier about Romeo not being a murderer? Well, screw that, cause oops, Tybalt's dead now. Super dead. He ain't walking that one off, buddy boy. So Romeo was banished from the kingdom, yada yada yada, and a yada. What a sucky turn of events that was! If all that happened to me, I'd probably grab me a big old bowl of ice cream and drown out my sorrows in the sweet sultry sounds of Netflix. Wouldn't you? But this isn't about me or you, or Netflix. This is about Romeo and his incredibly stupid teenage decisions. Oh yeah, did I mention that Romeo and Juliet are like 13? Kinda weird when you think about it. So that evening, Romeo rode the sad ride of shame to Friar Lawrence's cell, with deepened sorrow betwixt his breast. Friar said, "What a good plan! I should go visit Juliet and then flee right now." So he arrived, and they shared a bittersweet reunion, and later that night, they... Avert your eyes, children! Avert them! Played cool little board games to pass the time. How fun! And then they had sex. So the next morning, as Romeo left, Juliet's parents showed up, and even more complications arose. Apparently, Juliet was supposed to marry a different young lad named Paris this whole time. But she's already married to Romeo. She can't be married to 2 dudes at once. That's like 1 dude over the appropriate amount of dudes. And Juliet's nurse, like, totally ships Romeo and Juliet. That'll ruin all of her fanfics. But alas, Juliet's parents don't care about the nurse's precious fanfics, nor Juliet's feelings for that matter. For if she doesn't marry Paris, they'll kick her out of the house. Man, those are some loving parents, aren't they? So in a fuss, Juliet ran away to Friar Lawrence's cell once again. But unfortunately, Paris had the same idea because he was there too. And it was really awkward and stuff, so he left. But Juliet had it much worse, of course. She was so engulfed in sadness over losing her sweetheart and having a new inferior sweetheart thrust upon her that she was desperate for an escape from the large looming reality of her situation. So in an emotional teenage breakdown, she threatened to end her own life. And Friar had to deal with the situation fast. So I shouldn't kill myself, but just pretend to do it? But isn't that in bad taste? So the plan was settled. Juliet would take a magical potion that just conveniently existed, I guess, that would make her fall into a deep sleep for 2 days. Then her family would think she's dead, cancel their wedding, her and Romeo would sneak off together, and yay, happy ending. But there's one thing about plans you should always keep in mind, children. You can make one, slap a big old bow on it, and set it out next to a plate of freshly baked cookies, but life will always tear it to shreds and grind said shreds into the ground with its oversized, soul-crushing foot, because plans never work, and life is a huge mean person. But our heroes sadly don't know of their plans' hopeful deceits, for Juliet set out with the potion in her palm and a grin on her face. Later on that day, Juliet returned and everyone was happily hustling and bustling arranging the grand wedding that Juliet would never take a part in. And it was a shame, because there was all sorts of cool stuff that was going to be there. Like cake, dancing girls, dancing cake. Wait, probably not that last one. But I mean, you never know. So that night, Juliet took the magical potion that would be the almost death of her and dramatically collapsed into the ground in a heap of girl. And the nurse comes in all like, OMG! And everyone else comes in like, what she just said. And Friar Lawrence shows up like, And they were all like, you're right. We should get Juliet's body to the tomb as soon as ASAP. Meanwhile, Romeo's off in Mansu, somewhere else town, and some dude named Dinosaur or whatever comes in like, yo, girl's dead. And Romeo's like, oh no, and goes and buys some potion to kill himself. Don't worry, it gets much worse, and rides back to the kingdom where Paris is there, and he gets really mad, and they fight and stuff, and oh crap, Paris is dead. That's like the second person you've killed all week. Take a chill pill, man. So he walks up to the tomb thing and sees Juliet there, and it's all scary. And then he chugs the potion and dies, and she wakes up and sees him dead and is all like, That's exactly not what I wanted to happen right now. And pulls out a knife. Hey, where'd she get that shink? Oh god, what is happening? Who could have predicted this peculiar, petrifying Oh, there's way too many P's in that sense. Well, that's that. In a cruel twist of fate, our lovable power couple went from being alive to not, in the matter of like a couple of minutes. Sniff, sniff, weep, weep. But at least one good thing came out of all of this. After realizing that no one even remembered why the heck everyone was fighting all the time, the Montagues and Capulets put their differences aside and ended their generation-long family feud, hosted by Steve Harvey. But there's a moral to this dubious and exceedingly eventful tale. Yes, there is. And that moral goes as follows. Don't fall in love, ever. Just don't.
Oh, yeah!